What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be doing a couple demonstrations for you, and I wanted to talk a little bit about ways our security devices could possibly be interrupted. For example, say we have a camera such as this Pi Zero with a camera on it. Say that's our, home security. Now, what is the pitfall of using this? This is a wireless camera. So what it does is it actually connects and transmits everything over Wi-Fi. So it's radio based. What we have here is the HackRF Importer Pack H2. Now, the app we have open at the moment is the Jammer. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and I'm just doing a demonstration today just to show what can affect cameras. And this is meant for your own knowledge for your own security devices. Never, ever, ever attempt to do anything with anyone's device where you don't have, authorization. Never use any of these types of things unless it's on your own device and it's in a controlled setting. Okay, with that out of the way, another device I have to share today is an EMP jammer. So this sends an electromagnetic pulse that can disrupt the circuitry of electronic devices. It's actually been used on various casino machines in the past. It's been advertised for that, but of course modern day casinos have alarms to detect those kinds of things. But what we're going to be demonstrating on is this Pi Zero camera. So we're going to show how the jamming using radio can affect the ability to transmit that video. And also we're going to see what happens, and I have not tested this yet, when using an EMP jammer on the Pi Zero camera. So this is my own hardware. It's being done in a controlled setting and not going to disrupt nearby devices. So that is the point of today's video, is to just share that today with you guys. So first, let's go ahead and try out jamming using RF first. So what I did was, first I found out the frequency and channel the Wi-Fi camera was operating on. Various ways to do that. But then once I've got that, I plugged it in to my HackRF Importer Pack. Now, of course, there's going to be a variety of channels used by Wi-Fi devices and Wi-Fi networks. So, it has to be the exact one, or it's obviously not going to have an effect. So what the point is to overload that channel with junk data. And what that does is it prevents it overpowers the signal of the camera from getting its video across. And so this is something to be aware of if you have any kind of wireless camera. And that's the point in the demonstration, is just to show that wireless camera is not necessarily going to be the best solution for you. So if you have a hardwired camera, of course, it's not going to be vulnerable to the RF signal jamming. So this is being done with low power, just close range kind of thing. And I plugged in everything, the frequency and everything for this particular camera setup, which is my own hardware, so have full permission to do so. Now, let's also take a look for a second at the footage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this start button down here at the bottom. Once I get over there, and once it's lit up green, then I can hit that middle button, and then it's going to start jamming. Now, what the thing is, since it's at a low power, it's not something for far away. This is going to be close to the camera to ensure that it does properly work. But let's go ahead first and take a look. So this is the actual camera setting, the actual monitor setup. So you can see that the video right there at the top left is the actual ceiling, which it's pointed at. And the thing to keep in mind is that timer there. See at the bottom right? So I actually did a video sharing a preview of this with members earlier, a couple months back. And I thought today I would work on a public version of that, so for this demonstration. So we're going to see that the timer is set there. And what's going to happen is it's actually going to freeze that camera. So what it means is, depending on how the camera's set up, if it's purely directly transmitting that data, it would be missing something. But if it has its own, memory storage, of course, it's just going to delay it showing up on the Wi-Fi based monitor. So it all depends on the type of camera, how it's going to affect it. But let's go ahead and get started with it, and then I will bring the camera back to this monitor screen so you can see that it stops the timer. So you can see that timer's running smoothly second by second. Now once I press this and get it close to it, go ahead and press that start button here. Now it is in action, and it takes a few moments for it to really take its effect, but I'm actually putting up. So as you notice, it's actually slowed down counting. Now I have a hand there, so we'll see how well that works. And as you can see, it's definitely delaying things. And you know, with a more powerful signal, it could be really interrupted on this. So as you can see, it's more so freezing up. Its inability to transmit over the jamming device. As you can see, it's frozen the clock on that. So it's having a lot of trouble getting the data from the camera through the network. So that can interrupt our security devices at home or business. So this is just like a educational video, just to talk about how things can disrupt our devices and how we can take a look over back at the HackRF and see that it is sending the junk data packets of noise. And it's doing that in close enough vicinity to have an effect. There's also things like amplifiers. I don't recommend even testing this out because of course you don't want to disrupt anyone's electronic devices, but this is a private network and is also being done in a setting that is far away from any other networks. So as you can see, it freezes up the clock and its inability to transmit. So with that test shown, let's go ahead to the next device and see what happens. So what I'm going to do next is show the effects of this. And I'm going to move my other devices away from this because I do not want to harm anything or take any chances on some of my more important stuff. So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to turn this on. First, let's go ahead, get it turned on. So how something like this works, first off, is this is an electromagnetic pulse jammer. So what it does is it generates an electromagnetic pulse. Now, this is one I just purchased. Of course, it can be improved as well on, and we might even go into that later. But what it has is capacitors that can be charged up and allowed to release that data, electromagnetic energy, that's going to disrupt the electronic device. So I'm just doing this as a demonstration. As mentioned, this is just something to show you something that your own security devices may be vulnerable to this, and it's something to keep in mind that this can happen. So we've got this open so you can see some of the internal parts here. There's actually 3 charging ports here on the underside, so you charge each one for about 15 minutes, and once it's all charged up, you'll be ready to rock. But of course, do not use this unless you're only testing in a controlled setting on your own devices only. You do not want to get in trouble for doing anything wrong. So that's why I'm only, of course, ever practicing this kind of thing on my own devices. So with the cover back on, this turned on, we can then take this closer to the camera and see what happens. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it, but let's go ahead and take a look at the screen first and just see what it's looking at. So I turned off the RF jamming, so as you can see that clock is running again. So that's the video clock of the actual video, so the actual time stamping on it. So we can see what's happening here. We'll just go ahead and start the jamming session with another method. So let's go ahead and start and see what happens to the camera. So looking over again, we see it's on. Hitting that. So as you can see, it's glitching out. The more I do it, the more it glitches out. Now this isn't a high-powered one. Now I have the camera, as we can see on the screen. You can see it's running as you see the seconds that are passing by on the bottom. Let's go ahead and after charging this back up, I thought we'd give it another try. Watch the screen. As you can see, it's really glitching out the camera. Yeah. So every time I press that button, as you can see, it distorts and disrupts the entire video surveillance. Alright, so now that we've finished our tests with the RF jamming and also the other test for an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, we've done both tests, and with the EMP test, we can actually play back the video and see how it captured it. So during the EMP pulse, that actually was recording video because it's a motion detection camera, and when it's moved or when it captures movement of an individual, it starts to record. And so let's go ahead and play back that recording while it's being attacked by the EMP. And there we have it. So it actually captured the same glitch that we were seeing as was expected, but I thought it would be interesting to play it back regardless. So as you can see, it really isn't able to record anything when under this type of attack. So that was something I just wanted to show, and we can see that an EMP attack on our security devices like our home surveillance or our small business surveillance system is vulnerable to something like an EMP and also an RF jamming attack. Now, the RF jamming attack, is it going to disrupt the video? Not like the EMP. So because of the fact that the Pi Zero camera happens to record locally, it has memory to store the video. Even though it was unable to transmit it to the actual network, it still was able to record that video because it's only jamming the wireless signals on the channel that it runs on. Now with the EMP, on the other hand, that actually disrupted the entire video feed, as we can see. You know, I did know there's some risk on doing this, of course, to electronic devices. You could potentially fry something. But as you can see, this jammer is really not that strong, but it could be enhanced. And maybe I'll test it out in the future with some enhancements. For now, I just wanted to demonstrate two different options that could be used against your home security devices, and something you need to be mindful exist. Which is, of course, the things that can cause RF jamming or to interrupt your camera or home security. You do need to know about it. If you have a security system, it's worth knowing about, in my opinion. And then we also were taking a look at an app that allowed me to use some RF signal jamming in the wireless area. So two different types of attacks that could happen on our electronic devices. Just did a little demonstration of each. This is two different options that an attacker could have pulled on, say, a home security device. And obviously, more powerful devices than this exist, more powerful devices than this exist. So, you know, these are more so, you know, just mild demonstration purposes, which I thought was interesting to share with you guys, just so you know, like, the kind of effect to expect. And obviously, I could have turned this up a little more powerful, and I could have probably sent this through at least a reboot. So that's what I got today, guys. Make sure to leave a comment, help the video out, just share it. You know, I've done over 300 videos, and it's not well promoted by the algorithm, so I really appreciate your help sharing these videos. It helps this channel continue into the future, and appreciate you guys following the channel. And make sure to follow the blog at bmc.link/politictech. And also now on I2P Network, you can check it out at http://right2privacy.i2p. And if you're interested, you can always reach out about a core boot laptop. This is one I'm actually sending out, but this is a very special one. It is much more expensive than the ones on the blog shop, and it's because I know the person, so it's not something I'd normally be able to do on a normal order, but this is somebody who came back to support again, so I really appreciate that. As you can see, it's in excellent condition, quad core, and runs like a beast. Very excellent computer. But yeah, you can support the channel. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that at bmc.link/politictech. And appreciate all you guys' support. And that's what I got today. I will see you guys soon with a new video on how to protect your security